My name is Angela McKibben, and I am a communications manager for Joint Initiatives for Youth and Families, and I've been in the career about 5 years for this organization.
Perfect. And how did you first become interested in your career?
Well, I started out as a journalism major a long time ago, and through that I've done various jobs in communications. And so when I went back to work full-time, I saw this job, and I actually started out as a program assistant for this organization, and then my experience with writing and editing and then my desire to kind of do the graphic portion for our work led me into this position, and I got promoted, and now I work for the whole organization, so kind of another step up in this organization that's been a lot of fun for me. So I would say a self-taught person, somebody who likes to learn new things, because oftentimes I don't know how to do something, or things change so quickly that I have to find out how to do something. You know, we just added Microsoft Teams, or if you're adding a social media platform or something that you want to use and you've never done it before, you have to kind of brush up, investigate, figure out on your own how to do it, whether it's something maybe in Outlook or email or helping my staff. So really just being a person who can find their own information and get answers to their own questions pretty quickly is really helpful. Well, I was a program assistant, so it was about $14 to $16 an hour, and then anything as you move up, you might get maybe 20, 25. Communications manager salary range can be anywhere from $45,000 to 60 to 100, just depending on the organization that you work for. I work for a nonprofit, and so we have grant funding that is kind of what we base our budgets and salaries and personnel things on. So a little bit might be determined by that, whereas a private company might be able to pay you more, but I definitely love working in the nonprofit world, and it's very rewarding. So I would say it can be a lot of times even dependent on your experience. So if you come in with a lot of things, you might start out higher. I just kind of grew through the ladder of through the organization for this particular role. So that was how I landed to where I am. My work environment is now at home. I used to work in an office every day and had my own office, and when we were all together in one location. But now we've reduced our footprint, and we have offices closer to I-25 in the Resource Exchange building. So we have a more limited number of offices there, and all of our workers, our staff have transitioned to being at home, then we have a lot of people that are in the field as well. So we had offices for those people that need to be in the office, and then people at home. So my work environment is kind of my house, and I enjoy it, but we have the opportunity to go into our office if we need to for meetings, and as things open up with restrictions being lifted a little more to gather in person and more people, will be able to do that in our offices. But for now, I do work at home, and I have everything I can do. I could do at the office, I can do here. I have my monitor and my computer and good Wi-Fi in the neighborhood, so it works really well for me to work at home. Typical day. I think that's why I love this job so much in communications, is because there is not really a typical day outside of staff meetings or things that I publish on a regular basis that are on my calendar. But it'll start out, checking email, and then working through if anybody sent me anything, kind of prioritizing what needs to go out immediately. I do I do some social media. So in my role, I manage our 2 websites, and we have a third, and then I'm redeveloping our main website. So I will check those if those need updates, and then I manage our social media accounts, which is Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And I do these currently for our Early Childhood Council, which is Alliance for Kids, and then we're going to broaden that to the whole organization eventually. So I'll do that. I have a lot of contacts with community organizations that will want me to promote things, and then we promote a lot of things within our organization that we facilitate, whether it's training or events or information that needs to go out. We've had a lot of information going out to our early childhood education workforce, which is our people that run early childhood programs and family child care providers. So there we inform them a lot, and so keeping them up to date on everything with COVID and right now, you know, the push for vaccines. So that plays into what I do. Sometimes it's just dependent on just what's going on in the world and being responsive to that. So that's part of my day if I need to have something that goes out immediately, and some things can wait, and then some things are scheduled later. So some things I build up and then I publish them. I have a couple newsletters that I publish once a month, two different newsletters that I publish once a month, and then a third one for the 4th Judicial District. And that one's about every other month. So I'll do that, and it's creating graphics, using my programs, just everything related to getting information out to the community. So I've really been able to see how important it is to get good information out, correct information to our communities. So sharing that information, getting people connected to resources. We have a website that's devoted to families, familyspeak.org. And that is a hub for family resources, people looking for childcare, people needing assistance or supports, especially, you know, kids transitioning to learning at home. We have resources for that, social emotional resources, early childhood development videos, so everything related to that. So a real benefit is just getting that information out to the community and sharing that knowledge, and then being timely and providing information that way. So.
And some challenges that you have experienced?
Challenges. I would say a challenge is, everybody is so busy with life. You'd like to think that everybody's going to read your social media post that you've spent an hour on, but they might flip through it and not even see it. So really getting people to engage with your information and your efforts is probably the biggest challenge for us, and reaching parents and families that are already busy and where to get them kind of engage with them and give them the information that they need is probably the hardest thing. But technically speaking, as far as like a hard part of my role is probably keeping up to date on all the new things that come out, whether it's just any new social media kind of trend, or how you need to format something so it's so people can read it. It's just keeping up on that can be the challenge, but it's exciting at the same time. So. Oh yes, I definitely see this. My kids are grown, and so I have kind of an empty nest that's a home office, which is a plus. But I can definitely do this from home. Sometimes there's opportunities to do this part time. If a smaller organization only needs a little bit of communications help, you might be able to freelance or contract with a company that might need your services or your talents. So there would be opportunities that way. But family life, I've kind of grown just from doing part-time work that's led me to where I am, whether it was as an administrative assistant that kind of moved into this position. So kind of over time, it built into something more full-time. But I see lots of communications people out there doing this full-time with little kids. You see them in Zoom in the background. So I know it can be done. It's pretty flexible, and working from home, and sometimes, you know, if I need to do an evening or something like that, I can do that as well. So I think it combines all of the things I enjoy, whether it's creating something from scratch, something visually appealing, whether it's a report or doing photos, just kind of that creativity, and then combining that with my editing and my writing skills, and making something look good. A lot of times I get, here's the info, make it look pretty. And so that's what I do a lot. Make it look good. Make it you know, something that somebody's going to want to read or notice when they're scrolling through their social media or looking at our website. You know, you want a website that's easy to navigate. So figuring out what's going to look best and being creative and doing that is really rewarding for me. So I enjoy it very much. You know, I'm doing things like this. The career I have now is not what I went to college for. So, and I went to college, it was a long time ago. And so you couldn't even envision this career that I'm doing right now. You thought of working at home and doing everything by email and by computer and by texting and being able to, you know, email somebody a photo, or just the simple things that we can do now that we couldn't do before. So I know there will be things that I can't even imagine that I would do in this career, probably even just 5 or 10 years from now, that would be completely different. So I think just staying on top of information and staying current and staying relevant and meeting the needs of the community is what's going to keep this job changing and growing and continuing to be something that you always have to learn about. When you're looking for a career in communications, it might be, you might look for an organization. Say if you have a passion for you know, pets, or a passion for children or healthcare or anything. There's a lot of communications roles related to that. And so if you can pair maybe an interest that you have with this talent for communications and writing, then you could, you know, it's not kind of a pigeonhole place to look for a job. Like, I'm a writer, I'm going to work for a newspaper, or I'm a graphic artist, I'm going to work for a design company. You know, there's lots of inroads to this career. So just be open to starting with a company in a very small capacity and maybe moving up. You know, it never hurts to interview. So we interview a lot of people that maybe they're not a fit for one position, but we're like, oh, you'd be really great for this position. So maybe you interview for something that's not quite in your wheelhouse, but it can never hurt to interview. So yeah, keep your eyes open for organizations, companies, nonprofits that might be hiring in your field, and don't limit yourself to what you think you can do. You can probably learn by experience and, you know, just use the skills that you have. So that would just make it open to everyone who's looking into communications.